Every year, paint brands will introduce what they think is the color of the year. I don't know what and who thought some of these trend predictions were going to be the next it color, because some of them are so far off base. Some of them are actually quite in line with trends that I foresee are actually moving into 2026. There's been this incredible fascination with what they think is going to be the next hit wonder so they can produce a lot more sales for their paint brand. So today we are going to be going through the colors of the year, because what happens every year, they're like, this is going to be the next one moving into 2026. So we're going to check out and see if they're on trend or so far off base that you need to avoid them altogether. First up, we have Behr, and their color is Hidden Gem. Now, this isn't anything new because I've seen this color around for a while. They're just predicting that this is going to be the next it color. Honestly, it's giving like 2010 seafoam green, which needs to stay in that timeline and never come back. I know I have a personal vendetta against that color. I don't think it was ever good. I came out of a relationship where someone loved that color when it came into trend. They bought the pot, they bought the pillows, they bought the bed sheets, all in this matching color. And honestly, it didn't do any justice for our space, and it's not going to do much justice for your own. Seeing how drastically different this color looks in photos, how they've styled it, is personally a red flag to me. Something's telling me that there's not enough consistency that makes this color look like it's going to be exactly how it is. Now, I've spoken about Behr before, and I have my own troubles with them because I find that their samples are not close enough match to the actual paint. So everything that you're looking in store, you're maybe going to get a 60% match to the sample to when you actually put it on the wall. This is one of the probably least accurate paint brands that I've seen out there. I do like that it is a little bit more moodier in a way, and they've desaturated that stereotypical pastel seafoam, but it's still not doing anything for me. I'm going to give them a point because I like that they showed it in different settings. A lot of paint brands will be like, oh, here's the color of the year, and they use it in one room. You're like, oh, that's nice. Does it really work in that living room? Does it really work in a bedroom? Not every single color is going to work in every room that you think it will. In a kid's bedroom, I think this would be fantastic. In any other room in the house, it's not giving the same sophisticated feel that we are moving towards in terms of trends in 2026. It almost comes off very corporate looking. Like it's like the corporate team where you're in an office and they're like, let's circle back on this. It's not giving the look that you want for your residential home. I'm gonna have to disagree on this one for the color of the year, especially in the trends and the colors that we're predicting and what I'm seeing clients actually looking for. Next, we have Benjamin Moore Silhouette. Now, I've always been a huge fan of Benjamin Moore because, once again, it's one of those brands that the colors is consistent with the sample and it's pretty accurate to what you're gonna get on your walls. This color is described as luxurious blend of burnt umber and dedicated charcoal undertones. This hue has the versatility and softness to bring a space from unexpected to exceptional. I gotta hand it to these teams that come up with some of them. It's pretty much aligned with the teams that create the names for nail polish. They are so far out there that they almost work. Burnt dirt. That's basically what it is. That's the perfect description of it if you wanted to dumb it down. As fluffy as that sounds, I'm kind of into it. I like that it feels like almost this like old chocolate bar that started to pale out a little bit, but it's actually like a nice chocolate color. I'm actually quite into this. It's got warmth, it's got depth. I think this is a great color for someone who's wanting to experiment with going darker and moodier in their home, but they aren't ready to commit to like a really deep color like a black, which, you know, I'm already on board with. I think this is a really safe one to go with. It's dark, it's edgy, and yeah, if you're afraid of commitment, this is probably for you if you want to experiment, especially in a small space. Like this would be great in a powder room, but honestly, I think a bedroom would be fantastic if you really want that cozy, dark, moody vibe without it being almost swallowing and cave-like. I definitely have to agree that Benjamin Moore has, you know what? They have been on trend sometimes. Sometimes their color of the year is so far off base like the other one. But I definitely have to say that I really enjoy seeing Benjamin Moore shifting towards a lot of these darker shades. And this is very much aligned with the trends that I'm seeing coming up. Next on the chopping block is Sherwin Williams. And their color of the year is universal khaki. Now, Without even seeing the color, you can only imagine what this is going to look like. Their description is, I quote, "Refined, approachable luxury inside one dynamic hue. It's sophisticated without pretentiousness, warmth without staleness, and versatility without boredom." Oh God, what a long, drawn out sentence for saying this is really an ugly color. Great name choice. Maybe this is the color that dads wear on vacation. The khakis. Exactly this. These photos that they have styled is giving home sense. This is not giving like a sense of luxury. I feel like this color is very late to the boat, like especially with last year, we had those soft, warm beiges that everybody was on. It's moving into 2026 now. We're done with the all beige. That ship has sailed so long ago and it is not the color. I will give it a plus side. I think it has like a nice sandier color to it because it's a little bit darker than your standard like sad beige that everyone was going for. I feel like if they paired this with a lot of darker elements, it could have been nicer. There's too many like whites and lighter elements that's giving like stock photo that's not really showing you the potential of how great a color like this could be. Almost feels too Pinteresty, which is like a weird way to describe it. But like I said, that 2025 is when everyone wanted this. I do like the images where it's paired with green, which is a little bit more on trend with bringing in those kind of darker colors, especially on the earthier hues. I think it completes it a little bit more, but it wouldn't completely saturate the space. I feel like they really missed the mark on this. And with the neutrals and beige trends moving out, this does not align moving into the next year. Dulux, as you can get at any hardware store, their color of the year is called a rhythm of blues. I quote the description. "This versatile family of indigo shades gives you the flexibility to create spaces where you can slow down, cozy up, and fly free." This is a primary blue, people. It literally looks like a sky blue. Like the only time I would say this could be like nice is in a kid's playroom. You want that bright, colorful look, but like the way that they've styled it in these photos, it looks like a fun house. It's way too saturated with the amount of color on these walls where it feels so overwhelming. I have to say that I heavily disagree with this one. I have no idea who was forecasting the trends at Dulux and is like, you know what? We need a super saturated cobalt blue because that is what people want. People want to be happy in their homes. No, I don't want a headache. I don't want to feel like I'm walking in to like a hospital space in this shade. This is not working. This color does not make me feel cozy and it 100% does not make me fly free. Next, we have Glidden with warm mahogany. So the name itself, let's see what their description is. A warm mahogany is rich, grounded red that's bold enough to draw immediate attention and reserved enough to make a timeless statement. Any style, any space, any mood. I actually kind of like this one. The color I'm very much into. It's got like a richness of almost like an aged brick that's not super red. Very on trend with what I'm seeing for colors. I think the sample of it looks incredible. The installation photos and what possibly are the renders make it look very different from the sample. So I feel like I would need to see this in person tested out. So if you are looking for a color like this, I would say before you commit, get an actual sample, put it on the wall to see how the light actually reacts to it, because these colors look very, very different. With a color like this though, it does require a very specific color palette to work with. You can't just be throwing like whites and blacks in there. You need to really hone in on a specific design style that is sexy, elegant, moody, and intimate. I think if you paired this with darker hues, it would make this color a little bit more manageable and enjoyable. Like there's a lot of richness in these red undertones, and I'd almost want to counteract it to bring down that saturated level. I'm gonna say I like half agree. Half is on the mark. I'm gonna give it the point for it being moodier, and it has more of that ox blood color, which is very on trend. If you've been watching my renovation, you know I am 100% here for this kind of color. I think it is so chic. It makes your space look so nice because it really envelops it. One challenge I would see with this though is that a lot of people are looking for more of that rich wine color. This pulls a little bit more red. I'd want a little bit more of that purple undertone to really make it work. We've got Dutch Boy next with melodious ivory. That's That's quite the name. But let's see what the description is. Melodious Ivory's cream warmth brings a nostalgic, elevated vibe, perfect for showcasing handmade pieces and bold layers. I'm sorry, is this for the DIYers at heart? Because this is the vibe that it's giving. Can be timeless to an extent. I feel like this is a good creamy shade that can make your space feel like effortless in a way. It's like a simple neutral. It's not too over the top. It's not too light. It's not too dark. It's almost as if you were to like mix in a pale skin tone with butter in a way. That's kind of like the vibe that I'm getting for it, which sounds absolutely disgusting if you were to visualize those two together. So I'm sorry that I gave you that. I'm not sure what exactly nostalgic colors they're pulling from. Sure, I guess. I don't mind with the mint green and the oxblood that they have it pairing with if you really want to have a nice color palette. Oh my God, in this image, they paired it with a yellow ceiling. Oh God, I'm calling the police on this one. This is like, it's creating such a challenge with the color palette because this color has so much like paleness to it. It's really difficult to predict how a color like this would react in your space because your geographical location. Whether you have that north, south, east, or west facing, that's really going to either amplify or desaturate this almost like buttery undertone to it. I'm gonna say, I cannot see any design forecast bringing in a pale skin tone and have it pull well in a space. What are you pairing this with besides yellow? And even then, this is not gonna do it for me. Graham & Brown's color of the year is Divine Damson. They don't have a long description though. It's just this little quote. It says, a nutty chocolate plum. I don't know why anytime I hear or see the word nutty, all I can think of is the Nutty Professor. I know that's a very niche reference. And if you know what it is, you know, otherwise you missed growing up in the 90s. I'm so sorry. I can appreciate that they've really showed this color paired with both light and dark elements. I think this should be a standard in any color moving forward, that brands need to showcase how it looks in a space, because not everyone is going to have like a neutral palette. Most people are pulling lighter or darker, and those color elements really react to how the light reflection level coordinates with your space and all of the elements of decor that you have in it. I do quite like the sample. I think that's a really nice swatch. The photo with the wallpaper installation I think is much better because it gives you a little bit more of an element of how it can be paired with those darker pieces. I'm totally here for like a dark and moody dining room. Some of these pictures are kind of pulling a little bit too cherry red, so that makes me a little bit weary. I don't like it paired with all these lighter elements because it really creates too much contrast. Like it makes the color look forced, and that is the last thing you want when you're trying to set a level of coordination and cohesion between all your rooms and the elements that connect to one another. I'd have to agree with this. I think this is very much aligned with those purple undertones people are looking for with this kind of color. We've got Valspar with warm eucalyptus, and I quote, "This color choice is that of mindful living." Hold on, we're not done. Slow down time, injecting restorative design, and appreciate the small moments. Color that is restful to the eye and restful to the soul. I feel like the philosophy and poet majors that go to school, this is what their job is. They write these descriptions of paints and colors, and that's how they get paid. Because I don't see anyone else coming up with something like this and be like, you know what? This is fantastic. Pardon my French. It's such a load of like horse shit hearing the way that they describe this to really like emphasize the color. It's like, just say what the color is. We don't need words of affirmation when we're looking for paint, people. Like, come on. This color is very similar to Behr, but it's a little bit more desaturated, which I can appreciate, but this color feels almost aligned with like the Ralph Lauren color trend that people are like going crazy on TikTok, which is really wild because I only see it on TikTok, like Ralph Lauren Christmas, we're doing the plaid and these like rich colors. No one else is doing that. It is only for this younger generation that's like into the bows and plaid, which is a little bit weird to me. They're like, oh, we want that high luxury, like old money look. I'm like, no, this is not doing well for it. Like the only thing I would like about this is that it pairs well with like the cottage aesthetic. So I mean, if that's your vibe, I would go for this. It could almost work with a nice Scandinavian style because it feels a little bit more muted, but like this is not a groundbreaking color, people. I feel like this doesn't pair well with the modern design that a lot of people are gravitating towards lately, especially the younger demographic. This paired with blue, oh, this is like a grandmother's color. Like I could see this, maybe my grandmother would have something like this. As much as I dislike this color, I have to say it's very much aligned with the current palette of 2025 moving into the new year. So I'm gonna give them a point for that. I think it's still gonna be relevant moving into the new year itself. So if you wanna be safe and you like that cottage core, this color could be for you. Well, there you have it. That is the roundup of the top paint brands from around the world that like to trick you into thinking this is the new color of the year moving into it. And do not be fooled. Most of these colors already have existed for years. They're just like, this is a trend forecast for what's gonna work and what's not gonna work. And as you can see, some of them are very off base. Listen, I'm gonna give all of these paint teams a point because at least they were so far off from what Pantone had with their boiled chicken color, because that was not doing anything for me. But I do need to know in the comments if any of these colors really spark your interest and what you think you would actually be putting in your space, because these are the trend predictions that I'm seeing with clients and just colors that are coming in terms of inspiration and what other designers are actually using. Paint companies are like, I feel like they just throw this out here and they're like, yes, this should be it. But I want to ask you another question as well. If you were to pick a color of the year, what do you see and what do you think would actually be appropriate from these brands moving forward? That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I love doing videos on trend predictions, colors, because I'm actually in the industry. I get to see what people are actually looking for, what colors are working, what colors are not working, and what really works in your space. And honestly, that's why you're following Design Daddy. You want to know all of the upcoming details, trends, and things that are going to look good in your space. And I know if you're watching, you're avoiding them. You're avoiding the ones that I say not to use, which I think is a pretty cool level of influence to have. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok for all my daily tips and tricks. I have so many short form videos on education, on color, paints, anything that you need to know, you're going to find there if you're not too tired of watching me on long format on YouTube, because I talk way too much and I could probably talk for hours. But here we are, the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're ever second guessing yourself, just ask, what would Design Daddy do? Not go with the Pantone color of the year for this one. That's all I'm saying.